NASCAR confirms Ty Gibbs and Noah Gragson will compete for Rookie of the Year honors this season. 23XI Racing continues to push forward on expansion, and Kevin Harvick clarifies some of his retirement comments. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. Lots to get to today. We also have a special guest who had some pretty exciting news to share the last couple of days, joining us at the end of the show, so let's get to it. First up, we all know that Kevin Harvick recently announced his retirement from full-time NASCAR Cup Series racing. 2023 will be his final season. Yesterday, he was a guest on Corey LaJoie's Stacking Pennies podcast. It's a good episode, especially if you're a Kevin Harvick fan. He dives deep into the history of his career, some key moments that occurred along the way. But at the beginning of the episode, he clarifies that when he says he's retiring from full-time racing, he actually means he's retiring from NASCAR racing altogether. Don't expect any part-time starts. Here's what he said.
I have one more year of full-time NASCAR Cup Series racing. I shouldn't say full-time. At the end of the year, I'm done Cup racing. I'm not gonna. That was one of the things that I wanted to accomplish, was not to retire, then unretire, then come back and run 3 or 4 races. What that legacy is when we get to the end of 2023, that's what it is. So
Harvick sounds pretty sure of himself right there, but I will say this. I can think of 5 or 6 star drivers off the top of my head who retired from full-time NASCAR racing, but then came back to at least do some part-time starts. I mean, Jeff Gordon filled in for Dale Jr. in 2016. Mark Martin unretired multiple times. Matt Kenseth. Jimmy Johnson is coming back to race this year. Greg Biffle came back and raced for NY Racing last year. Bill Elliott, a couple years ago, ran an Xfinity race. So if I'm Kevin Harvick, I would choose my words carefully. Never say never, but he does sound pretty sure of himself. And as we've discussed, Kevin Harvick does have a lot of other projects, other interests going on right now. His kids are both beginning their racing careers, especially Keelan, who's like 10 years old now. That's going to attract a ton of his immediate focus. There's Kevin Harvick Incorporated, which represents several drivers and other athletes in other sports. Harvick was just part of the team that bought the Cars Tour, so Kevin Harvick's going to have a lot of things pulling at his attention for many years to come. Maybe he never races again. Maybe he actually sticks to this assertion. I want to share this real quick as well. RFK shared a very interesting photo on their social media last night. Roush Fenway Keselowski racing drivers past and present met up for a poker night, apparently. In this photo, look at this. Ryan Newman, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. reuniting with Jack Roush, David Reagan as well, of course, Brad Keselowski. You've got Jack Roush, I believe that's Jack Roush's son right there as well. Matt Kenseth, of course. Chris Buescher, active driver, and then team president Steve Newmark there at the end. So just an interesting photo. I appreciate the RFK social media team for this. It feels like I was there. But no, just thought that was a cool photo. Wanted to share from Steve Newmark. He says that Ryan Newman won the evening, so GG Newman fans. But Newmark also congratulates Matt Kenseth on his upcoming Hall of Fame induction. I'm sure that was part of this special occasion. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, I believe it's being streamed on Peacock. Matt Kenseth, Herschel McGriff, and Kirk Shelmerdine will all be inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. As maybe the biggest Matt Kenseth fan on the internet, I am extremely excited to watch the ceremony live. Congrats to all the nominees and all the inductees now, I should say. They've made it past the nomination. They're in. They're in the process of being enshrined in the Hall of Fame, whatever the case may be. I'm definitely going to have to visit the Hall of Fame at some point this year to see any special Matt Kenseth exhibits that might be up. I know most years they typically have special exhibits set up for that year's inductees, so I'm sure we'll see some Herschel McGriff, Kirk Shelmerdine, and Matt Kenseth items on display in Charlotte, North Carolina. So can't wait. Set a reminder, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. From Hall of Famers to now, let's talk about some rookies, drivers just getting their NASCAR career started. NASCAR Today released a full list of drivers who are eligible to win Rookie of the Year in their respective series. And notably on the Cup Series list, the only 2 drivers listed were Ty Gibbs and Noah Gragson. There were some questions coming into this season about whether those 2 would be Rookie of the Year eligible because, I mean, Ty Gibbs ran 15 races last year filling in for Kurt Busch, and Noah Gragson across races in the 48 and the 62 made 18 starts. That's half the schedule. There are some questions. Would that remove their Rookie of the Year eligibility this season? NASCAR said no. Both both Gragson and Gibbs will be able to compete for the Rookie of the Year title this season, and I think that's the right call. This is shaping up to be the latest chapter in a story that I think many fans feel invested in. Gibbs and Gragson went toe-to-toe for the Xfinity Series championship last season. They both won the most races. They were nose to tail in the closing laps at Phoenix. It's already a rivalry that fans are very much aware of. I'm glad they're going to have a trophy to compete for in the Cup Series this season. It's another conversation starter, something for the water cooler, another topic we can debate. Ty Gibbs, Noah Gragson, who are you picking to win Rookie of the Year? I think it's an interesting conversation because Ty Gibbs, driving a Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota, seems to have the edge over Noah Gragson, who's in a Legacy Motor Club Chevy, formerly Petty GMS. Gibbs will likely have better support around him than Gragson will, at least at first, so advantage Gibbs. But Gragson won more races than Gibbs in Xfinity last year. He's a few years older than Ty Gibbs, and while I think both drivers have some maturity questions surrounding them, I think I have more questions about Ty Gibbs right now than I do Noah Gragson. Is he mentally ready to take on the challenges that come with racing on Sundays every single week? So maybe give that advantage to Gragson. So maybe a toss-up. I don't know. I think right now I would pick Ty Gibbs to win Rookie of the Year just because I do think car and team matters a lot. I think this day and age, your performance is roughly 70% car, team, setup, equipment related, and about 20-30% is probably driver. I think Gibbs will be in a better car than Gragson most of next season, so I'm going to give him the advantage, but like I said, there are very real questions around his maturity. He's obviously had some very difficult things to deal with off the track this offseason. I don't even want to get into that, but just on the track, Ty Gibbs is used to being in one of the best cars, running up front, winning almost every week, and that's not going to happen next year. He's probably not even in a top 5 car. He's not going to win much, if at all, next season. He's going to run 15th a lot. Will he be able to manage that? Will he be able to grow, cope, learn? Will Ty Gibbs be able to handle not winning every single week? It sounds a little silly, but I think that's a real concern. I have a little bit of those concerns with Noah Gragson, but I would say it's less right now. So leave a comment down below. Are you picking Noah Gragson or Ty Gibbs to win the Cup Series Rookie of the Year award this season? I'm picking Gibbs, but I think it's close. I think people will look at Legacy versus, it's the 42 car versus a Gibbs car, the 54, and they're saying it's not even close. Gibbs is the clear favorite. I think it's close, but I'll still give the edge to Ty Gibbs and that JGR crew, but I want to hear what you guys think down below. Do any of y'all think Gragson can pull off the upset? There's one more topic I'd like to discuss before we bring in Ryan Vargas, who announced his 2023 plans earlier today. Always love catching up with Ryan. He's a true jack of all trades. You know, he's a driver, he's a salesperson, he's a content creator. He's been forced to do it all in his young career, so I always love catching up with Ryan Vargas. Want to hear a little bit about how these deals came together, how 2023 looks different than any year previously. But before we bring Ryan Vargas in, let's talk about 2311 Racing. Adam Stern from Sports Business Journal reported this yesterday. 2311 Racing plans to break ground on its new headquarters near Charlotte in the coming weeks and move in by 2024. While Denny Hamlin said last year that major investments were on hold until TV talks with NASCAR were resolved, the team is moving forward in hopes that the talks succeed. What does this tell us, if anything? Does this suggest that behind the scenes talks between NASCAR, the teams, and potential media companies are going well? Because this is basically a 180-degree flip from what Denny Hamlin was saying not even a year ago. Let's go over the timeline for a second. In 2020, announced Michael Jordan, Denny Hamlin, they're teaming up to start a new NASCAR team. In early 2021, talks of potentially building a new race shop emerged. Some renderings became available to the public. Then in August of 2021, it's reported that 2311 Racing purchased $3.7 million worth of land in Huntersville, North Carolina. But then in May of 2022, less than a year ago, what's that, like 8 months ago? Denny Hamlin said this: "I will go on the record saying that I had a meeting with Jim France and my message was clear that we need to stop talking about cutting. Cutting does not equal growth. If we start working collectively, then we can grow this sport together. But the business model will have to change for that to happen. We at 2311 have big plans, but those plans are on hold until we see change." So has Denny Hamlin, has 2311 begun to see positive change that they're happy about? Or is this just a calculated gamble? I think no matter what, even if they are happy with the changes they're hearing about and seeing, this is still a gamble. Anytime you invest that much money into something, into a project, there's a risk. But what do you think? I'm not sure. That headline was certainly interesting because it wasn't that long ago Denny Hamlin sounded very frustrated with the current state of NASCAR's revenue model. So upset that he was saying they weren't going to invest in the team anymore. And now, they're entering a third car in the Daytona 500 for Travis Pastrana. And now it sounds like in just the next few weeks, they're going to start building a massive new race shop. So that tells me that Denny Hamlin, Michael Jordan, the whole team over there are at least somewhat optimistic in the future of NASCAR and the next media rights deal, right? I don't know. Maybe, again, it's just a huge calculated gamble. Maybe it's not even calculated. Maybe it's just a huge gamble, and we'll see if it pays off. But thought that headline was interesting. Now I'd like to bring in NASCAR driver Ryan Vargas. He's been in the Xfinity Series the past couple of years, but now he's going to be pulling a double duty of sorts. So let's bring in Ryan Vargas to Out of the Groove. All right, Ryan Vargas now joins the show. Ryan, you've had a busy 24 hours or so. We'll get into it. I think you've had a pretty busy off season, but a very exciting 24 hours. Let me make sure I get this right. You're going to run 7 truck races, at least for On Point Motorsports in the 30 truck. And then in Xfinity, you're the new anchor driver for CHK Racing, right? That's the new name. The 74 is a lot. I'm trying to keep track of it. I don't know how you keep track of it, but congratulations on all the new announcements, man.
No, absolutely. It's been great. It's been a very busy and stressful off season, all for the right reasons. I have some very amazing partners who are following me into these endeavors, Critical Path Security, Lyrgus, Swan, Williamsburg Contracting, and they've all been very supportive in all these decisions that I've made, with the On Point endeavor, and then now jumping in with CHK, trying to help them and become an anchor driver over there. So a big whirlwind of activity right now, but I'm very excited.
Yeah, and so can you give us a little more insight into what that will look like, especially over at the 74 as the anchor driver, helping with their development? Because that's a team that's still really trying to get going in the Xfinity Series. Like, what do you expect your role to look like explicitly?
Yeah, so obviously my role will take place with me driving. That's the biggest part, but obviously the other half is, basically just looking at the status of the team as we continue moving forward. So like, okay, this is where we feel we're struggling, right? And we looked at last season, we looked at where there were the faults and what needed to be fixed. And so far the team has done a very good job of addressing that and working to better that. And I know that the recent, injection, I guess you could say the shot in the arm from Gary Keller and Mike Clayton, it's been a very big, I guess you could say, source of energy into that organization. And so with the opportunity, I looked at it and it's like, man, it's something I want to be a part of. And in my 2 experiences working with Mike and his team over there, I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I had such a great time. They bust their tails. They put 110% effort into what they do. And I knew that they just needed that little extra bit. And I think that this year is the year that they get that.
Yeah, definitely looks like a team potentially on the rise. And yeah, you mentioned racing for them last year. We were joking before in Portland. You had a good run with them in Portland. Finished 23rd, right? That's awesome. That was a crazy race to watch.
Yeah, no, that race was crazy. We had a bit of an issue in practice. So my first laps on track were qualifying. So we qualified like in the back. And I just remember seeing the downpour happening. I'm getting ready in the hauler and Mike's over in the corner. And I'm just like, I just want you to know that if I pass the car today, it's by accident. Like it's going to be crazy. Like as long as I keep this thing clean with all the fenders on it, we're going to finish top 25, I think. And sure enough, we ended up right in that ballpark, 23rd, with the cleanest car in the field. So that was a big day for us. And that really showed to me, these guys really digging their heels in and pushing forward, but also we just meshed really well. And that was something that to me, I really enjoyed over there. So I'm excited for that opportunity. We got Lyrgus Security and Williamsburg Contracting on our car at Daytona. So very excited to bring those 2 partners on board for that endeavor. And it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And can you take me kind of a little, I guess, behind the scenes, if you will? You mentioned it's been a stressful off season. I think I saw on Twitter, you said it's been like the most insane off season of your racing career. Can you take everyone here behind the scenes of it? Like how difficult is that to kind of just push through?
Yeah. So, the biggest thing, going through the off season, and honestly, my off season started in August, September, if we're being honest. That's really when you starting getting your ducks in a row, figuring out, okay, which partners are going to continue forward, which partners aren't. Okay, who am I working on for next year, and who may kind of come into the fray. And that's when you start kind of putting all those cards out, saying, okay, what's this going to look like? How much can I bring to the table? What do I personally, as a driver, as an asset, bring to the table? And so that's where I looked at these opportunities, and I saw what I had with my fantastic partners, and I looked at everything. And when I looked at the truck opportunity, I've never done truck racing. I'm so excited about that, because I'm a big fan of the truck series, and there's no better opportunity than to hop into a competitive truck at On Point Motorsports and a competitive Toyota Tundra, go out there for a few races and see how we do. And then you look at the opportunity at CHK, my opportunity there is I'm going to be able to drive a lot of races. We're going to be able to work together to build that organization back up, help with the marketing, help with the internal structure there, and try and basically just continue building that program up. So like you mentioned, kind of having that control of that a little bit has been really refreshing to me. It's been, I remember going for a walk the other day and just thinking to myself, like, this is probably, while it's been the most busy and like stressful, well, good kind of stress, in that same time, it's been the most mentally like at peace it's been for a good time. And I'm excited about that. And that to me has me very excited to go to Daytona, and for my opportunity starting at Atlanta with On Point.
Absolutely. Well, we're looking forward to it. That's super interesting to hear. I know you're one of the hardest working guys in the garage, because you do it all. I mean, driver, salesperson, what you name it, content creator. I mean, you do it all. So if anyone's keeping busy, I know it's you, Ryan. But thanks for joining the show, and congratulations on all your great announcements. And I'm looking forward to seeing you, I guess, first at Daytona in the Xfinity Series. That's awesome, man.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, and I appreciate you for always making time. Always means a lot.
Always love talking to Ryan Vargas. Really appreciate him taking some time to be on the show. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave it a like. And if you're new and you love all things NASCAR, all things stock car racing, hit that subscribe button down below. We've got lots of exciting new content planned for 2023. You won't want to miss it. And as always, a big thank you to my Patreon supporters. I will see you again tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. My boy, Matt Kenseth, is going into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. I feel like a proud father, even though Matt Kenseth is, I think, literally twice my age. How old is Matt? Is he 50? Oh man, he's 50. Oh, it hurts to see your hero's age before your very eyes. Well-deserving Hall of Fame inductee, no doubt. I'm glad he got in on the first ballot too. That's pretty cool. That's a nice little feather. I don't know if they put that on his plaque or anything, but the fans will know that he got in right away. Didn't have to wait around. I think that's pretty cool. Anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching.